Good evening, and thanks for joining tonight's TI Technology webinar hosted by Texas Instruments, where tonight we're going to help you prepare for the big day, the AP Statistics exam. My name is Mike Houston, and I'm the moderator for this event. I teach algebra, calculus, and statistics near Pittsburgh, where I use TI Technology to make those tough to teach, tough to learn concepts accessible to all my students. And tonight I'm excited to be joined by our two panelists, Tracy Watson and Jeff McCullough. So Tracy has been a teacher at the high school and college levels for over 20 years. She's currently working as a mathematics specialist at the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts, focusing on AP statistics support for teachers across the state of Arkansas. She was introduced to the graphing calculator as a teaching assistant in graduate school and hasn't turned back. As a T-Cube national instructor, she enjoys sharing with teachers across the country the appropriate use of technology in the classroom. Good news, this year will be her fourth year as an AP Statistics reader, which makes it perfect for her to be here. Tracy, thanks for joining us.
Oh, unmute.
Thanks, Mike. I'm so happy to be here. Starting off great.
And Jeff co-founded TI-Nspire Super User Group with Bryson Perry. He teaches Algebra 2 and AP Statistics at St. Mary's Episcopal School in Memphis, Tennessee. In 2009, Jeff received the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching, and he has authored the second edition of the TI-Nspire for Dummies book and the second edition for the TI-84 for Dummies. So Jeff, it's great to have you with us.
Good to be here.
So tonight,
Tracy, will you discuss? Sorry,
yeah,
you're
I'll do
already
the
ahead of me.
agenda. So tonight, we've got very short agenda, but hopefully it's jam-packed with stuff. We have 10 review strategies, and today I came up with 2 bonus ones, and then 4 calculator skills that we're going to focus on. And of course, at the very end, you're all going to stay the whole time for the drawing. And what is the drawing for, Mike?
I believe the winner will get a TI graphing calculator of their choice.
Yes. Wow, that's nice.
Stick around for that.
Stuff.
Yeah, amen.
So,
and Jeff, would you talk through our expected outcomes?
Sure can. So what we want to give you a situation where you'll be able to talk with your students about review strategies, really have like some nice resources available to you that Tracy has done a great job of linking in the documents that we're giving you. I'm going to show you some cool stuff on the calculator so that you can, do some of the basics that you might need to do, and even learn some new tricks on there that you might not have known. Even if you've taught AP stats for a while, there's usually a few things in there that you might not know how to do. So we'll try to hit a little bit of, kind of highlight a little bit TI-Nspire, a little bit TI-84 with that. Doing some t-tests, doing some normal CDF, inverse norm, and again, just kind of enhancing that just a little bit. And just, we want you to be able to enhance, just your understanding of AP statistical concepts. So like Tracy, I've been a reader for 4 or 5 years. I've lost track. I'm not sure. But so we know how to grade anyway, some of that stuff, which is kind of fun. But Tracy, why don't you take it away?
Okay.
And just 1 second, hold on 1 second, Tracy.
Not yet.
If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to use the Q&A window on the right side of your screen. And we'll be using the chat window to send general messages. And as a last reminder, the session is being recorded. And we'll provide a link for the event certificate of attendance at the conclusion of the webinar. All right, Tracy, now you can take it away.
Now it's my turn. Awesome. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to post in the chat a link. You get this from Mike somehow. He'll tell you later. But it's a link to a Google folder that has this presentation in it and stuff. And so it's a Google folder of goodies related to what we're talking here today. It's right around the corner. I'm starting to think about the big day, May 5th. Oh my gosh, it's getting close. And so this is usually the time of the year that I start thinking about what I'm going to review, how I'm going to review. And I don't know about you, but usually my stuff is like all over the place and I forget different things I've done. So this presentation, and I wanted to make it a Google slide to share with you, has kind of everything packaged together. So like when you're trying to figure out what do I want to do today for review, my intent is to make this a place you can go look to get ideas. If there's files, they'll be there. You'll have them handy. Um, so that's kind of the intent of this presentation and the folder that you're getting that has stuff in it. Um, I foresee just today, I thought of two other things, and there's one item I want to go find that I've got to find to put in the folder, that this folder will continually have stuff added. But
So it's a
Google,
living, breathing document. It's going to continue to evolve, is what you're saying?
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Because I don't know about you, I need it. My stuff sometimes is all over the place. Oh, I did that 2 years ago, and I'm trying to find it and I can't find it. So
Yes. Yes.
I'm
I'm right there with you sometimes.
Yeah, I'm digging through stuff. So the idea is this is my go-to now when I want to figure out what I want to do for my review. So, of course, we have to acknowledge what today is. Happy Tuesday. And that's pretty much all I did in my class was just acknowledge it. Yay. I was like, I'm waiting for year 2022 to really celebrate. That's when I'm going to party. Um, so, but one of my colleagues posted this proof for pi that uses all twos in it that I thought was cute. So I figured I'd share that with you too. But that's all I'm going for that.
Nice.
Okay, so this slide is showing the review strategies, and you can see there's not 10 anymore, there's 12 different review ideas, things to think about. It's just got a bunch of stuff in here. And then we've got our calculator skills. We have the categories of like the different things students have learned how to do on the calculator, and then the ones that we're going to be addressing today. Okay, so that's kind of how we did that. So I'm going to go through the review strategies with Jeff's help, especially this first one,
Mhm.
because this is the time of year that I'm thinking, all right, I've got this stuff left to do and I want to review. How much time do do I have left to teach?
I mean, is there too much time to review? Like, what do you think about that? Can you take too much time for that?
Me, yeah, because my kids would get bored and start, I like to spend more time teaching the concepts and teaching them in depth and spending more time as we're going along than I like to review. Because
Yeah.
I personally sometimes get bored with review, and that usually means they're going to get bored if I'm bored.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So there's a trade-off there. That's true.
yeah, yeah. So I kind of put a calendar here together. So this is usually the time of the year that I actually think and make my schedule. Okay, what is my target day that I need to start to review?
Mhm.
I have to think about when I lose seniors
Yeah.
because even though May 5th is the exam date, some of my seniors don't have to come to class. This year, it's probably would be like April 28th might be their last day of class they have to attend. So I have juniors too, but I got to really focus on making sure I can do what I want to do with my seniors. So, Jeff, do you lose your kids earlier than the...
We lose them right about the 29th, actually. So yeah, about the same time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know that's not nationwide. If you have your kids still coming to class, awesome. You probably do start losing them May 2nd when other AP exams are given, though. So, it's still kind of the same time frame, I think, for
Well,
everybody.
is this year earlier than it has been in past years? Wasn't it a second week exam?
Yes. We are a first week because we kept asking for it, but now I don't think we
Wow.
want it.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny.
So, except our students will be more fresh. It won't be the end of the second week of taking AP exams. So, it is what it is. So, that's one of the things that I think you need to think about first when it comes to review is when are you going to start the review? There are two different camps. I taught the full course in 18 weeks, a semester. I did it fall semester. I haven't done it spring, and I've taught a year-long course. And when I've done it fall semester, honestly, you know how many days I would review? 1 to 2
Not a lot.
days.
Wow.
Because whatever I would review, I would actually, it was just preparing them for a mock exam that I would give them. If I
Yeah.
spend more than that, they're not going to remember it by the time May comes around.
So you have
So
to, do you do stuff in the spring with them then? Is that what you did?
I try. I can't force them to come, but I
Yeah.
invite them to eat lunch with me once a week. Lunch review sessions in the spring.
Yeah.
I have tried Saturdays. It didn't work, but
Mhm.
that's possibility, meeting them, a couple Saturdays. If you have food, sometimes it helps. Or doing after school sessions, review sessions. But the problem with all that is in the spring. It's hard getting kids to come, especially at my school, they would have college credit for the course already. So it was hard to get them to focus on the AP exam. Spring semester course, a single course, I think you have a little bit more, it would be very valuable. I think it depends on um, your group, whether I would spend 1 or 2 weeks review. If I have a lot of students that I think are on the edge of a score, like a lot of that I get a feel are twos, I'm going to spend 2 weeks of review. Now, when you teach a semester course, you've got a longer class. So 75 to 90 minutes. Yeah, the block schedule. And so to me, it depends weeks on my students. Again, if I have students that are a lot of that I feel would be twos right now, I'd be spending 2 weeks because you can get those twos up to a three.
Yeah.
If I have a lot of students that are already threes and fours and they've been really rocking it all semester, I might only spend a week just
Yeah.
brushing a few of their skills because they're already ready for it. So, Jeff, what would you do for a year-long course? It's really actually been 7 years since I've taken a year, taught it over a full
So,
year.
I mean, I think 3 weeks is optimal. You know what I'm saying? If you can, now, the problem is, I don't know if y'all have this experience, but snow days come into play. We have what's called a band and choir tour. It just seems like there's stuff that gets in the way. And so I don't know if I ever really get 3 weeks, but that's kind of what I shoot for. And then, you know,
Yeah,
it doesn't always happen. So usually it's a little less than that.
yeah. So I think that kind of is your first decision. Look at your calendar, especially if you know kids are out certain days, even though they always throw that stuff at us at the last minute. So that's kind of, I think that it needs to be part of your strategy when you're reviewing, really thinking about how much time you want to spend. And don't think 1 year is going to be the same as the next. I know my kids' groups were just so different, and I always tried to adjust to that particular group. Let's move on to review strategy number 2. This part of the Google Slides, you may want to take the slides and present just this batch to your students. The idea is just spending some time making sure they understand the exam. You've talked about it the whole semester, but it's amazing how kids don't listen and they just miss some things that I think are important to know when they go into taking an AP exam. So I just put together slides. Again, this is
Mm.
something for you just use. And it gives them the overview of the exam. Y'all know about the exam, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. But the students should know the breakdown of the exam. They should know that they're given a formula sheet. They should know they have to have their calculator charged. I
Yes.
always had charged calculators sent to the room, just to make sure. But, it's amazing how kids, oh, I need my calculator. Well, yeah, you've used it all year, so they just sometimes don't hear things. But now the day's coming right around the corner, they actually may pick up some things. Knowing how many questions there are is important.
Do you set up your tests in a similar fashion? Maybe not quite as many questions, but are your tests set up kind of like this? Like start with multiple
Yes.
choice and then move to free response?
Yes, I always have multiple choice. And Free response, sometimes I'll have one normal AP type free response and then maybe some other questions that are broken down more.
Yeah,
So, but there is always one that they know came from a former AP exam. I actually put it in the title of the question so they know this is an AP question.
yeah,
So, um, this I don't spend a whole lot of time with kids on, but I do want them to know, look how heavy on the multiple choice the inference is.
mhm,
That's a third of the multiple choice questions are about inference. So just that way, if that's a weak area, they know they need to target it. So I
yeah,
think it's important for students to be aware of that. Free response questions, they give you a little bit of guidelines. So share that with your students. Um, Investigative tasks, I usually wait until the end of the year to do investigative tasks because I don't want to scare them. And so this is actually a day that I do spend talking about and working on some investigative tasks. So they see it's really not that scary, even though it's weighted more than their other free response questions. Make sure they're good with their formula sheet, that they understand the formula sheet. The past couple years, I don't remember what year it was, they updated the formula sheet. So you want to make sure you're using the correct formula sheet. I do have a link right here, which will get you just the formula sheet right out of the CED. So it's just
yeah,
the 2 pages front back. Couple ideas here is at the very beginning of the year, they had a hard cop on cardstock, the formula sheet, and we would pull it out all the time.
yeah,
Get them to sit down and just look at it now. See what they recognize, see what they think is actually, because there's some formulas on here that you really don't use.
yeah,
So that way they're not spending time. What is this? You want them to be totally familiar with this. So if they need to look something up, they know where to go. They're not wasting their time, looking through a whole bunch of stuff. So a couple of ideas that I had for activities. Maybe if you want like a group activity, you do have a group that likes to make big poster boards and all. I had classes that did and other classes that hated that. Maybe assign each of them a formula and tell them, go find a problem, put it up on a poster board that uses that formula, and work the problem, just to get them some familiar with this. Um, and get maybe just them highlighting on it, just a simple activity of having them highlight the ones that they might need to look up. There's some on there they should know and never have to look up, and they need to recognize that. But maybe highlighting the ones that they know they have gone to look up before. And so that way, again, they can find it easy when they need it. Um, if they have never seen an AP test booklet, it's simple, but sometimes just being aware of what the booklet would look like is helpful. Um, your AP coordinator, if you do not know, has the ability to order last year's test booklets. I think they can order it like in August or September. And so I have my stack of test booklets from previous years that I can show them. This is what it looks like. As long as they're like several years old, I don't mind passing the books around. I'm at a 10 through 12
yeah.
school. So I wait several years before I actually would put one of these in a student's hand, just so I don't want
So,
them
Tracy, I have a
recognizing.
question about that. So your counselors or whoever orders those, is that just for stats or do they order that for the whole school?
It is every single AP exam given at your school for the same price, apparently.
Okay.
So
But
our counselors
that
would
would be
just go
neat to
around and
actually,
deliver them.
I don't know that my school does that. So that's something to consider if your school doesn't do it. You could always ask and see what they say.
Yeah.
'Cause I think it would be neat to actually see what your students wrote on the exam.
Yes, it is very, very interesting.
Yeah,
So, and I mean, if you I don't have a ton of students, and I would still recognize their writing or their initials are on the thing. So you can actually see what their score was and what their free response book looked like. And so that was kind of an interesting look. It gave me a different feel for the 2, 3, 4, 5s. you
mhm,
know, yeah, this free response does really look like a 4 student. and so it kind of, it was a good learning thing actually looking at those. So it's whoever the AP coordinator at your school is, I know that's who ordered ours. And I had to ask. I went to them when I found out this was a possibility, and I asked them at the beginning of the school year, would you order the AP booklets for the exams for last year? So, I don't remember how much it cost, but I know I was shocked at how little it was for what we were getting, a couple
Yeah.
$100 maybe for everybody's, and it's the actual books. So that's kind of cool. In case you don't know, all the pages will have this box around them now because every single book is going to be scanned. All of the AP readers are grading on computers. Whether they go to Kansas City or stay home now, it doesn't matter. Everyone actually does the grading on computers. So your students' booklets will be scanned. Um, it is a really good scan. I don't think there was a single book that I thought was too light to read. So they've done a really good job of making it really readable. So I think the last thing was just making sure they don't have to read the directions when they take the AP exam,
Yeah.
that they know what the directions say, and they know they're going to get a 10-minute warning when they're on a multiple choice. For the free response, they'll get a 25-minute warning. That's oh, if I haven't looked at question 6 yet, the investigative task, I need to do that very soon. It's weighted more and I usually need more time. And then they also get a 10-minute warning. The only other thing, these directions are exactly what I put on my test throughout the entire year. I just
Yeah.
take that exact wording, put that at top of the multiple choice, put that top of the free response. So they're used to that exactly.
Yeah. But I love this because now we have this all, I could just show this to my students. Like it's great. So it's a really nice
Yes.
resource there.
That was my intent, and it's very selfish. I need this stuff all in one place because it's been scattered all over the place for I've been teaching what 7 years. So
Yeah.
I finally have it all together. All right, let's move on a little bit faster. You want to make sure that they are understand how free response questions are graded. So there's a couple different grading free response activities that you can do for a review day. I kind of put two strategies together with the help of Jeff. Number two, that's Jeff's idea. I like what he added to what I originally had written. Um, have students in approach 101 just find a free response question. If you don't know, they're on AP Central. If you go to the stats page, make sure you click the exam tab, scroll down, you'll see this on that page. You can easily get last year's free response questions. There's the questions first, and then there's the scoring guidelines. But down below that, you can get all the past exam questions. That's a link that will take you to another page. So that's where you can find them. And then after they answer it, and I do this kind of throughout the year, I share the grading rubric with them and have them grade themselves. Or if you have a group that's comfortable, exchange papers and grading. Again, this all depends on your group. I'm not big on grading each other's unless they're comfortable with it, um, because then their friend, especially if they grade swap with a friend, their friend can give them some good feedback. This really wasn't clear to me. I'm not sure if you're going to get this part on the grading rubric.
Tracy, question from the peanut gallery here. Linda asks, can you get last year's multiple choice questions as an AP stat teacher?
No, no. The only multiple choice questions that I know you can get is the 2012 full exam was released, and it is in that goodies folder. The other ones, you have to be an AP teacher, and they have some
That's what I mean.
available on the audit site.
But what about
That
last year's if you're an AP teacher?
I don't think last year's is there.
Yeah, that's what
I
we
want
want
to
to know.
say no, and I can go check that then just to make sure. But I don't
Okay.
think they posted up last year's multiple choice. But I'll
Yeah,
double
but
check that.
that approach number 2, what I like is if you use the samples, then there's no, and just work with a partner, have them, it's kind of like having a shoulder partner when you're reading, like we call it, where you can kind of ask them, hey, what do you think about this? Is this a 3 or a 4? And you kind of talk about some of the nuances there. It's kind of neat to do that maybe.
Yeah.
I think I
And
might
so
try
I
that.
had them at the beginning, they're answering it themselves to become familiar with the question. Then they go read the rubric, and then they don't worry about what they did using these sample responses for the question, grading
Yeah,
those, because those documents also have what the scores are, what the students actually earned. But I think it's good for them with a partner to talk about it first before you reveal the answer.
yeah.
So, and then they can revisit what they did to see if they should have done something different. Okay, the fourth one, Super 6 questions. If you have not heard about these as some possibilities for giving problems to students to work, you want to listen up. The original Super 6 questions were taking one context and kind of expanding it, like one free response question, but adding like a whole bunch of additional parts to that same question. So it addressed more than one area of statistics. So in your goodies folder, you'll find the Super 6 review. That's the original. And then the review answers are there by the person who wrote them. Bob wrote them. Um, because of the pandemic and COVID and everything, when students were only going to have 2 questions instead of 6, a bunch of wonderful people wrote more of these. And so I gathered all the ones that I found of the Super 6 type questions. So these are the other ones that I found. If I find others, this is where, again, I'll be popping them into this folder if I run across them in all my files. So if
This
you
is, I
have
use
anything,
these. I
please
use it.
share it with.
It's one of my favorite ways to review because it's so comprehensive about that particular topic or type of question. So
Yes,
it's just fabulous. It's really good.
yes. I really liked using these. Um, Taking multiple choice questions and only handing a set of them on a particular topic is a good way to focus on concepts. Take a quick review of a concept and then hand them a batch of multiple choice about that concept. Um, Multiple choice questions are hard. That's all there is
Yeah.
to it. Great distractors. My kids don't do very well on multiple choice. So I really like giving them more multiple choice to get better at it. And they have gotten better by me doing more and more multiple choice. How are you going to break down concept breakdowns? This concept breakdown number 1, I think is yours, Jeff. I think
Yeah.
that's the one you told me when we were working on this. And I also pulled out like one of those review books. Those review books are good to help you break down content and find multiple choice questions too to use
Yeah.
for this. So that's just kind of, I don't have like an example of this, but this is something that if I do this year with my kids, I will throw it in that folder. So it might pop up at some point.
Yeah.
I just hadn't done it this way before. Oh, this is in the wrong spot. We're going to move that because I don't know where that goes. The next, did I skip something? Oh, no, I skipped a slide. Never mind. Hold on. I jumped a slide. Jumped number 6 strategy.
Yeah.
Giving them a full mock exam and grading it. Definitely give them a grade for it so they take it seriously. Um, so the idea is, what is the value? You know, when you're talking about why should we take a full mock exam, they got to know how to approach a full exam. I don't give them a full exam when I test them. There's not 6 free response questions to try and figure
Yeah.
out which one should I do first. So, Jeff, do you have an idea of how do you tell them how to approach these 6 questions when they're handed the 6 questions?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, I don't know. One strategy is to kind of do the ones you know first. Um, make sure to have enough time to tackle question number 6 because it's worth more points,
Hmm.
and then come back to the ones you're not sure about and, see if you can make some headway on them. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. I always tell them, look through it all briefly, find the one that you know you're going to rock and get to work to kind of the warm-up question.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of get your brain going and you feel good. Because there's going to be a question you're going to be like, "Oh yes, I can do this." And it's going to be the feel good and it just would give me confidence, and then approach it through and pay attention to that 25-minute warning. If you haven't looked at question 6 yet, the investigative task, I tell them you should be able to do half of the investigative task. It's kind of like a regular free response. It's after
yeah,
that they're going to kind of really stretch you a little bit. Try it because you may see it, but
right.
don't worry if you're like, what? What about the grading? Do you grade your mock exam, Jeff?
Yeah, so like last quarter, it's like a huge part of their grade last quarter is that mock. So, but I try to keep it like, what am I happy with? What do I want them to get? So, 5, very good, high A, right? So somewhere very high percentage. 4, I'm still pretty happy with, maybe a low A or something. 3 is decent. That's at least a B, 2 is, you know, not so great. So that's where it kind of, so I don't know if you have a floor on yours. Like, do you have a floor of 70 for senior? It's kind of what do you, or do you put what would a 1 be graded for you? What percentage?
Depends on the student, but I'm going to show what I kind of judge. I still, even for one, if they tried, it's a C.
Okay.
If a student leaves my AP class with the C, they probably will not get a 3, 4, or 5 on the test. But they've stepped up, they've took an AP class,
Yeah.
you know, and so I don't want to crush them. Lower than that, that's the students that there's no effort, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Usually
Yeah.
it's something about their life of why they're not caring. So this is kind of an estimate, and I tell them how this is how I'm going to grade it and tell them why. I'm
Yeah.
thrilled because I'm going to grade your mock exam like the AP exam. If you get a 4 or 5 from me, you're rocking it. You're ready to go. Threes, I am thrilled and I'm happy, but I think you can get a 4.
Yeah.
Twos, come on, keep working. You can boot up to that 3, So I kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
get the grading so it encourages that.
And sometimes, to incentivize them, sometimes I've done like so they get their score in their first mock, and then I have like a Saturday mock or something where they can replace that score if they get a better score. Does it make sense?
Ooh,
And sometimes they're encouraged to come to the Saturday mock or something. You know what I'm saying? Like have
yes.
a second chance at it, so to speak, with another mock.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. Couple other ones that I'm just going to throw out there that I thought of. Um, on the Stats Medic blog, there was someone who posted about their 3-week review. And so I encourage you, this is a link, it's a live link that I'm going to go to. And he talks about what he does for 3 weeks of review. And if you scroll down, what I really, really like is his layout here. He teaches 4 days a week. So in day 1 and 2, he's teaching and he lists out the free response questions that he uses to help with this. And one of them, notice, is an investigative task on that first week. And
Yeah.
then week 2, he moves on to this batch. He gives a test at the end of each week that's multiple choice and 2 frequent response questions. And he has it completely laid out here. So if you don't want to my students might get bored doing something like this. So they usually like all different kind of review things. Every day it's something a little bit different. But this would be I think a really good, if I known this my first year teaching, this is what I would have done because it's very laid out for me. And what's even more exciting, keep scrolling down. He tells you what his tests look like. He takes the released exam, which is the 2012. He has the link there, and I have the exam in the goodies folder. Says exactly which free response question he uses and which multiple choice questions from that exam for out those 3 weeks. So If you're thinking 3 weeks and you don't want to kind of piece together different strategies, well, there you go. Here's a 3-week strategy.
Yeah.
Just go for it. Next, there is also the AP Daily Live Review videos. If you noticed them last year in April, they 8 times they do a live YouTube. Um, Obviously, if the time doesn't fit with your class, you can't join them live, but you could use them in class maybe. You can find last year's AP review in AP Classroom. There are, if you go to AP Classroom for stats, go to course resources down to review, and there's 8 review sessions there. They're 40 to 50 minutes long. You're welcome to just maybe you really like one of them. Maybe that's one of your class days if you have that long of a class. I did just get an email yesterday that this year's live reviews are going to occur April 18th to 28th. I don't know when they're doing the statistics one yet, though. I couldn't find a schedule yet. But the new ones for this year are coming out. But I tell you, last year's, our exam hasn't changed. They haven't changed the
Yeah.
content. They haven't changed the focus of stuff. Last year's would be just fine. So that's something that you can do. There's also the AP Daily videos in AP Classroom. If there is a particular concept you know your students need to work on, grab one of those, play it. These are short. These sometimes not 10 minutes, sometimes shorter than that. What is cool about this, I use this would be for troublesome topics, things that students like, I just still don't get this. Have them listen to someone else's voice. Sign
Like
as
power.
homework. What?
Could power be one of those troublesome
I bet
concepts?
you power is in here. It's got to be. Yes. Now, again, I have some links here. Somebody, Grace from Boyette, Grace Boyette, I can't remember what school she's from. She's actually created guided notes for all of these that she posted probably on one of the Facebook groups
Oh,
that I follow.
that's neat.
So I have that linked here. It is actually a link to her drive. Boom. So if there's, a unit and you want to have guided notes for students to work through, boom, you've got them. And also
Cool.
Stats Medic has done what they call it skeleton notes. So
Yeah.
that is a link to their Dropbox of where their skeleton notes. So those things aren't like live in my folder, but there's links to them to those people's folders. So I'm all about using what other people have done.
So Brandon says that he assigns the daily videos the night before they learn the concept in class, and it made a huge difference in his class, he said.
Ah, nice, nice. Doing that as you're going along. Very nice.
I
I'm
didn't
curious,
know they had
Brandon, do
notes
you
for
use any of
that.
the guided
Those
notes
are
with
all,
that?
oh, I was just saying, I didn't know they had notes for that. That's really neat that you found those for us. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, again, Stats Medic, I'm sure it was a blog they posted that I caught. And then
Yeah,
the other one, some Facebook group, who knows but I'm glad I have a place to put this stuff when I find them.
yeah,
There's also a link here that lists all of the lessons that are there. So there's a document that the College Board posted that has, so if you want a topic, you can it's like a catalog of their videos.
yeah.
So you can find out which one to go to if you don't know where it is. Okay, oops. And then almost done. Stats Medic review course is a good one. I bought it for myself one year to watch it during my lunches. And I thought it was really good. It's it does cost money. It's $29 for an individual. I just bought it myself just because I didn't want to ask students to buy it because I didn't know if it was good yet, but it is good. It is worth the money. If you want a sneak peek of it, there's a link here that you can go actually see a couple of their videos so you can see their
Hmm.
style to see if you think your students would like it or you like it. Um, and then had another blog about how to get funding for it. So they give you ideas if your school won't pay for it, other
Yeah.
ideas to get funding for it if you want to choose that route. Again, I've tried to make this like very comprehensive, so hopefully there's something for everybody.
It's pretty comprehensive. You're doing a great job.
Bonus. I came up with these yesterday and today. There's a ton of review books out there. I forgot. There's a bunch of names of them. So grab a review book. Some kids like review books, other kids don't. Flashcards. I forgot about flashcards. I have some flashcards. You can find them in a lot of textbook resources have them, or Quizlet. It's amazing how seniors like Quizlet. So
Yeah.
Quizlet, and I just Googled AP Statistics, and there's a bunch of flashcards up there. Someone asked about, I saw something, oops, I'm going the wrong direction. The review books, they're all good for their own sake. I personally have a whole bunch, so I pick from all of them. If you can get your school to buy a set for your students, it's hard to say which one I would pick because they all have good stuff about them. So it's really, I think, kind of a preference thing, on the review books. Some books are just tests. This one's kind of a cool one because it's just 100 questions. And this one's kind of different from all the other ones, I think. 100 questions, open response question on one sheet, you know. But so that's all I've got.
That's all you got?
That's all I've got.
Toss that
Sorry, I
over to
don't have
me.
anything. I don't have anything else.
Okay, can you toss that ball
It's
over to me?
coming. It's coming your way. Tossing it over.
Okay,
You got it?
I
Yay.
think I got it. Is that good? Okay,
Yep, that's good.
so this is from the 2012 test you mentioned, and it's just kind of a basic question here, a classic kind of norm CDF kind of question. And so I thought with this one, I was going to show the Inspire and show you like a little nuance that you might not have known you could do. So if you hit the home key here on Inspire and go over to list and spreadsheets, I know you would normally do norm CDF on a calculator page, but you can actually do a norm CDF on a list and spreadsheet page here. So I'm just gonna hit menu here and go, I guess that would go statistics. With Inspire, you don't really have to memorize stuff, where stuff is. You can just kind of hit menu and see what happens. It's got to be under stats. Got to be a distribution there. This is my only choice. And we're looking for norm CDF. And so for this question, I think the lower bound was 530. The upper bound was infinity, or a very big number. If you have the CAS machine, you can actually type infinity. I just put a big number there. The mean was 500, I believe, for this question. And the standard deviation was 50. And there's a little box here I wanted you to see that it'll actually draw and shade the area for you. So if you click that box and say, okay, it draws it. Now I don't like, I do like, so it gives me the answer 0.27 there, but this is really small, right? Like I don't like that. So I don't know if you know about this command, but there's a command. I'll show you where you can find it. Doc, I think it's under page layout. Do you see these two choices here, group and ungroup? So Control 4 and Control 6. Group will group two pages and make a split screen. Ungroup will take a split screen. So right now, if you see, I have a split screen. I have a list and spreadsheet page on the left. I have a data statistics page on the right. So if I hit Control 6, I believe it will ungroup the pages. And now I can go to the page to the right. I see that's just a nice display of the norm CDF. I just really like, sometimes I want students to see what we're doing. Maybe they didn't draw a picture on their paper like I want them to do. And so the calculator can actually show that. And so I wasn't sure if you knew that you could do that on Inspire, and actually it draws the graph for you. So I thought it was kind of just a neat little feature.
Nice, nice.
And of
That can
course,
confirm if they are reading the question right, if that picture
yes,
matches.
right. Yeah, does your picture match? That's for sure.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna get the 84 out for the next thing here. So this is, if you continue solving this problem, you probably want to set this up by hand. Now I know that you might go, well, that's a pretty easy equation to solve, but I don't know about you, Tracy, but I have some students in statistics who algebra really isn't their jam, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Math is
And
not
so,
their jam.
I am totally fine with a student getting to this point and going, I'm going to use my calculator to solve. And so if you didn't know that there's a new solver, relatively new, if you haven't seen it in a little while, it's probably changed. If you hit the math key and scroll up one click here, you see the numeric solver. It's got piecewise functions, it's got all kinds of stuff on here, which is neat. Um, but if you hit the numeric solver, so E1 is the left-hand side of the equation. So you would type in 0.274. E1 is the right-hand side of the equation. I'm going to do a fraction template there. If you didn't know the shortcut, it's alpha x on the new CE calculator. So then I'm going to type in x minus 300 over 40. And you see the soft key on the screen in the bottom right. So you want to hit the graph key, which activates that soft key in the on-screen soft screen. And it kind of just puts a number in there where I can guess. I could guess 5. You can put in a guess if you want to. It'll find the closest answer to 5. In this case, there's only one answer. If I hit graph or solve there, it gives me the answer of 310.96. Right,
Nice.
which is the correct answer. So it just does all the algebra for you. We know that you could solve this doing just a little bit of algebra, but I'm okay with my students using technology to solve even those kinds of equations. What do you think, Tracy? Are you okay with
Yeah,
that?
especially for like you said, the weaker students who aren't really algebra oriented or comfortable. We don't want that stopping them in this class because this is not an algebra class. So
Yeah.
I definitely show them this solve command.
Right. And if you have the Nspire, it's just the nsolve command. You type the equation, type comma x or the variable you're solving for, and it also does it on Nspire. So there's a version there that you can do as well. This is another question here. Um, and so some of those answers, you can pretty quickly figure out that the mean, that the p hat there is 0.231. So those first three are really gone. And hopefully, honestly, I do hope that our students know that 95% is that number 1.96, right? But I want to show you how to find it on your calculator. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. I use it 84. I use it Inspire in my class, which is just so awesome for stats. Do you use Inspire also?
I've got to be dual now since I'm helping teachers across Arkansas.
Okay. Yeah. So, um, but the thing is about this, I didn't realize this is one case where the 84 actually has more features than the Inspire. I can't think of any other case where that's
Mhm.
true, but this is the case. So this is the command. So if you go to inverse norm, which is under the distribution menu, so second vars, and there's inverse norm. And normally what we do, I think the way most of your calculators set up, like Inspire, it's on left bound. So you would put the area, you're drawing the 95%. So this would be 0.975 is to the left of that Z critical value we're trying to find right there. And then we just, put, 0 and 1 would be fine there, I think. And you have to actually cursor down and say, okay, and the answer is 1.96, right? But what I
Mhm.
haven't tried, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's pretty neat. So I thought I would try this, and I at first didn't even know how to work. I had to kind of play with it, and I realized if you can actually just put what it is, the count 95%. So I'm gonna put 0.95 and scroll. Did you know you can do this, Tracy? And go down
Yes,
to
just
this.
because I've had to learn the 84 this year.
But isn't this cool? You can go center. I don't
Yes.
have to make that a little adjustment where I add the 0.025 to each side, I don't have to do that adjustment. I just put center, say, okay, paste. Are you kidding me? It gives me the same answer. It actually
Mhm.
gives me the lower the critical value, so to speak, and the higher critical value, like a negative version of it and a positive version. So I just thought that was kind of neat. If you haven't seen that with the inverse norm command where the center, it's just kind of handy. I just kind of like that.
And
Although,
again, that's something the 84 does that the Inspire does not do, which is like you said, that's shocking. but
It's quite shocking. It's actually like, I hope you're sitting down right now. I would hate to have some of you faint when you just saw that. So this is just kind of all these are from the multiple choice 2012. And this was one where you do have to use your calculator. It's a 2-sample t-test. Um, and Inspire, these both work about the same way, I would say. So you go to like a calculator page here. It's in the menu, of course. Statistics, it's a stat test. And you go to 2-sample t-test. And you have a choice, and you do this also on 84 where you choose data or statistics. And so data, if you have the lists in there, if you have all the lists of data in there, you're going to choose that one. In this case, they gave us the statistics, so you want to choose stats here and say okay. And again, it just kind of you enter the data 19.54, standard deviation 3.68, 16, and then 23.39, 4.93, 17. And then you have the choice. Of course, you had to look at and read the context of the question and see that the alternate is going to be not equal to. We're looking for differences here. And so this one, you have a choice of either greater than, not equal to, or less than. So we want not equal to. And then the big thing, if you do this, is do you want to pool? What do you tell your students?
never change the default.
Never change the pooling, right? We don't ever pool in AP Stat. So we're going to say no to pooling. Just say no. So say okay. And I think that what's interesting about this problem is even when you get the p-value, right? We got the p-value of 0.016 right there. I think a lot of students still might miss this question. I don't know if you agree, but this one's not so tempting. I mean, because there is definitely evidence. The p-value is very small, less than that. But like, isn't that a weird way to represent the answers of the p-value?
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
the first time I
Yes.
saw that, I mean, oof. So what is the answer there? So it'd be 0.016. So is it D? Is that right?
I'm thinking D. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's not the easiest choice for our students. And so it helps to show them questions like this. Don't you feel like where they get used to, once they see this once or twice, they go, oh, I know what's happened here. I can do
Yeah.
that. And sometimes when they see the whole, more decimals, it actually confuses them even more. Like, whoa, like maybe that's bigger than 1.15, like, or I mean, just bigger than 0.5 or something. They just get confused on some of those. So I think that's good to show them some of those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this was another multiple choice question I saw that I thought it was kind of neat. I thought it might be neat to be just kind of like create a simulation that does this. And so on Inspire, this is pretty nice to do. I want to talk about a couple of nuances if you do use Inspire. So go to the list and spreadsheet page. Um, Unlike 84, where the lists are already titled, I would always go up there and I would name them a name. And definitely do not name them one letter. Why is that, Tracy? Why would you not name them one letter?
Then the calculator's going to get confused. Isn't it for the columns that they already have them named and what you're
Yeah,
naming them?
right. If I called it C and I'm in column A, it's going to be like, wait, are you talking about column A or variable A?
Variable C. Yeah.
It just gets confused. And
Hmm.
so you can call it a name. You can't have a space in there. So if I call this roll one, that's fine, but I can't say roll space one,
Hmm.
right? You could say roll underscore. I think control space bar is underscore. You could
Yeah.
say roll underscore one if you wanted to, I believe. And
Hmm.
then roll underscore is control space two. So I have my things in there. And so in this one, you're going to go to the formula bar. And I do this, it's just like Excel, if you've used Excel before, if you hit the equal sign there, that kind of gives you the ability to put in a formula here. And so I'm going to look in the menu, see if it's there. I don't know if it is. Rand int? I don't think, I don't think it is it?
I thought it
I usually
was.
just type it, or you can go to the catalog. So if you don't know the command, if you go to hit the catalog key here and hit the R for rand, or it's going to start with that. And there's the rand int command. you can see the command says lower bound, upper bound, and then the number of trials is optional, but you can put that. So if I put rand int 1 comma 6 is the lower and upper bound for a dice roll, comma 500, and press enter, it'll populate the first 500 with a random number there. Again,
Nice.
hit equals, I'm going to type the word rand int here and say 1 comma 6 comma 500. Again, I want 500 of those. By the way, do you know how to re-randomize? Just keep randomizing. Do you know?
No, I don't.
I think if you hit Control R, it continuously, it just keeps re-randomizing.
There we go.
You could have fun. I could sit here all day and just re-randomize. I mean,
Yeah.
this is
Nice.
super good. Okay, so then we want to find the difference. So I'm going to call it difference or diff and put equals. And I'm just going to put those two column names. You could either hit the variable key and go to roll 1 plus, no, minus. I want to
Minus.
subtract.
Mhm.
Minus and then variable key, roll 2, and press enter, and it takes the difference of roll 1 minus roll 2, and it pastes it into that third column, which has a name. It's the difference. So in Inspire, if you hit the home key and go to the data and statistics, now either click down here if you're good at swiping, or hit the tab key, and it'll tab down to there, and you want to choose the difference when you go down there. So difference is that one. And it so nicely
Wow.
lays it out there for you. It's really nice. Um,
Wow.
Control R does not work here. You have to be inside of here. And now it'll display a different one, right? Changes it.
But it still looks
So
like answer C.
still looks like a lot like Enter C. It does seem to look a lot like Enter C, and that would be the correct answer here. So I just thought it's kind of
Awesome.
neat to create, to know how to create something like that on 84. On 84, you can also do listen spreadsheets like equations in here. So on the 84, so if you get that out, you have just a minute here. So if you go to list and, stat edit, um, you can clear out this list and scroll down. That's how you hit clear and scroll down. But if I put my cursor up there, now if I type in, I have to get to the random command. So maybe second 0 R.
Uh, There we go.
By the way, if you didn't know this, if you hit the plus sign when you're on 84, it shows you the syntax of the command. It's kind of a nice little thing there. And I'm going to paste that into my document. So let's see, to paste that.
Escape out of that screen first.
Oh,
There
and
we
then
go.
press enter. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so rand int, 1 comma 6 comma 500. And it populates the list just like it did with Inspire. So it works in a very similar way. Again, you could put L1 plus L2 in column 3 and come up with those same lists that way as well.
Nice.
So I just thought it was kind of neat to show a few of those things. And Tracy, we at least timed this thing perfectly. But I also just want to give Tracy, like, you did so much work. That PowerPoint is so good. I'm just like, it's just a great resource for people to have. So where again can they find that? Did you paste that in
I
the
posted it in the chat again.
okay.
So there's the link. Go ahead, grab it and save that to your Google Drive.
Yes.
If there is something you think of or something that I am able to put in there that you've come up with, go ahead and email it to me. I'm tell you, I'm taking everybody's stuff that will gives me stuff for review. So nothing of mine is mine.
Yeah.
It's all been used
I
from
think
someone
I
else.
think we both have benefited from other people have shared with us that we try to share with others, right? So I really
Yes.
appreciate it though. It's very nice. Michael, I think I'm passing it off to you.
Sounds good, Jeff. Thanks. So as promised, one lucky winner today is going to receive a free TI graphing calculator of their choice. And tonight's lucky winner is Roxanne Pasquale. So Roxanne, congratulations. We'll be in touch over email in the coming days to get a little more information from you. To receive a certificate of attendance, go and click the link in the chat window. Also listed as a link for the documents tonight. So if you missed Tracy's link, they're also within my link for the documents. And if you're watching this on demand, go ahead and copy that link into your favorite browser to receive your certificate. Huge thanks to Jeff and Tracy for putting everything together tonight. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you for coming, spending the evening with us.
Thank you. Always fun.
And thanks everyone for joining us. We hope to see you back online next week. Have a great night.